The June sunlight felt as if the city had reflected it 1,000 times over. By the time it fell onto the asphalt, it was so hot that even the air seemed to twist faintly above the road. Lin Yao stood at the school gate with the graduation certificate he had just received in his hand. Around him, classmates in academic gowns held up their phones and took pictures. Someone laughed and shouted, "One more shot." Someone tossed a graduation cap into the sky. Someone had an arm around his girlfriend, talking about going to Taipei together and fighting for their future. There was also someone standing in the center of the crowd, surrounded by several classmates offering congratulations. "I heard you got into Mingyuan technology? What's the annual salary?" "It's all right. First year should be around 1.2 million, maybe higher with bonuses." "Damn, seriously? That's amazing." The person smiled with restraint, but the pride in his eyes could not be hidden. Lin Yao stood off to the side and listened quietly. He did not go over to join the conversation. It was not jealousy. It was just a very clear sense of distance. They were all graduating on the same day, but some people's lives seemed to begin accelerating from this moment, while others seemed to lose their shelter from this moment onward. Lin Yao lowered his head and glanced at his phone. On the job platform, the newest notification had arrived 5 minutes ago. "We regret to inform you that the position you apply for does not currently match the company's needs. We hope there may be an opportunity to work together in the future." He looked at that line of text without any change in expression. This was already the 7th rejection letter he had received this week. More accurately, it was the 7th polite rejection letter. Far more companies had not even bothered to reject him. Lin Yao locked his phone and took a deep breath. Before graduation, he had always thought he was at least decent. His grades were not bad. He had done an internship. He could write reports. He was willing to work hard. But after truly stepping into the job market, he finally realized that being at least decent had almost no competitive value at all. Companies wanted impressive resumes, real project experience, personal referrals, people who could contribute immediately, or people who were cheaper, more obedient, and more willing to work overtime. And he was stuck in the most awkward position. An ordinary university. Ordinary grades. An ordinary family. Ordinary ability. Even his anxiety was ordinary. "Lin Yao." A familiar voice came from behind him. Lin Yao turned and saw Chen Hao holding 2 cups of iced coffee, forcing his way out of the crowd. Chen Hao was his roommate, and also the friend he knew best after 4 years of university. If Lin Yao was the kind of person who thought of 3 possible risks before something even happened, then Chen Hao was the kind of person who charged forward the instant he saw something new. He shoved 1 cup of coffee into Lin Yao's hand, his face full of excitement. "Bro, are you busy tonight?" Lin Yao looked at him. "Does sending out resumes count?" "Stop sending them." Chen Hao waved a hand. "When you apply to those companies, it isn't them choosing you. It's them filtering through a whole batch of people exactly like you." Lin Yao took a sip of coffee. The iced coffee was very bitter. "You're being especially unpleasant today. That's because I'm about to tell you something big enough to change your life. You said that last time too. Last time was about pulling cards in a mobile game. This time is different." Chen Hao lowered his voice and said mysteriously, "Era of the Divine Realms. Global Open Beta starts tonight at 8. Lin Yao frowned. He had heard that name before. Recently, almost every platform had been pushing it. Short video apps, subway ads, mall screens, news pages. Its promotion was everywhere. It claimed to be the world's first truly full immersion virtual game. The official slogans were wildly exaggerated. The second world of human civilization. Opening simultaneously across the globe. Every nation will possess a civilization realm of its own. Huaxia had the three kingdoms, investiture of the gods, classic of mountains and seas, and immortal Qin. Toyo had ninjas, Onmyoji, and the night parade of 100 demons. Europe and America had Olympus, the Norse gods, King Arthur, and the Knights Templar. Egypt had the kingdom of the dead and the tombs of the pharaohs. The Americas had Maya temples and ancestral spirit wastelands. It sounded as if the myths, histories, and legends of the entire world had all been thrown into one enormous game. It was not that Lin Yao was uninterested. He simply did not have the mood for it right now. I don't even have a job, and you're talking to me about playing a game? Chen Hao answered immediately, that's exactly why you should play. Lin Yao looked at him. Chen Hao put away his grin. For once, he became serious. Think about it. What is everyone competing over now? Education. Resumes. Background. Internships. Internal referrals. Can we beat them at that? Lin Yao did not answer. Because the answer was obvious. They could not. Chen Hao continued, but a new game is different. Especially a massive virtual world opening globally at the same time. When the server first opens, all information is blank. Every player is exploring. As long as you catch the chance, even an ordinary person can turn things around. Lin Yao gave a short laugh. Did you watch another motivational video from some game streamer? It isn't motivational hype, Chen Hao said. This time really is different. He opened his phone and held it in front of Lin Yao. There was a news article on the screen. Multiple international technology groups jointly promote the global open beta of Era of the Divine Realms. Officials claim it will establish a new standard for virtual economies. There was another line below it. Some rare in-game assets will open real-world transaction channels. Lin Yao's gaze paused. Real-world transactions. Those 4 words were, at this stage of his life, far more attractive than the game itself. Chen Hao pressed while the iron was hot. I heard studios are already buying open beta player slots. Some consortiums are preparing to go in and build guilds. If you can get rare items or obtain a special class, it might be a lot more useful than finding some 35,000 a month job. You're dreaming too beautifully. If a person has no dreams, how is that different from going to work? That line is even worse. Chen Hao chuckled. I've already rented the equipment for you. 7-day trial. If you don't play, we can return it. I'll cover the rental fee. Lin Yao fell silent. Chen Hao looked reckless, but in truth, he had already paved the road for him. He knew Lin Yao had been under a lot of pressure lately. He also knew that direct comfort was useless. So he had simply shoved an exit into Lin Yao's hands. Why are you so set on dragging me in? Chen Hao did not answer immediately. He looked at the street outside the school gate, where people came and went, and his voice lowered. Because I keep feeling like this game isn't just a game. Lin Yao raised an eyebrow. Your gamer's sixth sense? Yes. Chen Hao was utterly serious. And my sixth sense has always been accurate. Lin Yao was just about to mock him when the large screen on the school wall suddenly went dark. The graduation blessing video that had been playing disappeared. The next second, the entire screen became a vast starry sky. It was not only the school wall. The giant advertising screens of distant shopping malls, the electronic billboards by the road, even many people's phones, all displayed the same image at the same time. The crowd slowly quieted. Deep in the starry sky, a massive bronze gate slowly emerged. The gate was so large it did not look like something built by human hands. Its surface was carved with twisted, ancient patterns, chariots, dragons, gods, figures holding swords, and kings kneeling among ruins. The bronze gate slowly opened. A low voice rang out from every corner of the city at once. Global announcement. Era of the Divine Realms will officially open tonight at 2000 hours. Heroes shall wield individual might. Lords shall bear the rise and fall of civilizations. When the first city is built, when the first god awakens, and when the first relic returns to reality, humanity will come to know the world anew. The students around them began to cry out in surprise. Damn, this trailer is insane. This ad campaign is way too exaggerated, right? Global simultaneous launch? Is that real? I'm definitely logging in tonight to take a look. Lin Yao, however, said nothing. His gaze was fixed on the massive bronze gate. He did not know if it was an illusion. When the line "the first relic returns to reality" sounded, the image seemed to flicker for an instant. It was not ordinary signal interference. In that instant, Lin Yao felt as if he had seen countless pairs of eyes open behind the gate. Human eyes. Beast eyes. And some presence so vast it could not be understood, looking through the crack of the gate at this world. His heart sank for no reason. The next second, the image returned to normal. The bronze gate opened completely, and 4 large characters appeared in the starry sky. Era of the Divine Realms. Chen Hao bumped his shoulder. So? Tonight at 8. Are you going in? Lin Yao had just opened his mouth when his phone suddenly vibrated. He looked down. A strange push notification had appeared on the screen. Invitation to Era of the Divine Realms. You have been detected as meeting the qualifications for an initial player. Will you log into the second world tonight at 2000 hours? Lin Yao froze. He had never registered. He had never fought for a qualification slot. He had not even clicked into the official website. Chen Hao leaned over to look, and his expression changed as well. You got an invitation too? What do you mean, too? Chen Hao immediately opened his own phone. On his invitation page, the words were clear. Open beta qualification confirmed. Source, pre-registration lottery. But the invitation on Lin Yao's phone was different. There was no pre-registration record. There was no lottery marker. There was only one line. Candidate qualification activated. Chen Hao's expression slowly stiffened. Bro, yours seems a little different from mine. Lin Yao stared at that line of text. Candidate qualification. Candidate for what? Chosen by whom? Why him? At that moment, the screen of his phone changed again. Login countdown, 3 hours 17 minutes and 42 seconds. Please confirm whether you accept the invitation before the countdown ends. Failure to respond before timeout will be regarded as giving up. Lin Yao's finger hovered above the screen. He knew something about this was wrong. But real life had not given him many choices either. On one side was pressure he could see. On the other side was an opportunity he could not understand. Lin Yao was silent for a long time. In the end, he pressed confirm. Player qualification confirmed. Welcome to Era of the Divine Realms. Chen Hao's eyes lit up. Tonight at 8, bro. We take off together. Lin Yao put away his phone and looked up at the massive bronze gate gradually fading away. He was not as excited as Chen Hao. For some reason, he felt that what he had pressed just now was not the login button for a game. It was the lock on a door. From this moment onward, something had been opened. And he would never be able to return to that original ordinary life again. It was 7:40 in the evening. When Lin Yao returned to his rented room, Chen Hao had already been shouting in the voice call for nearly half an hour. I'm telling you, the forums have exploded. In the Huaxia region, most people want to choose the Three Kingdoms or Investiture of the Gods. The Three Kingdoms should be the hottest choice in the early stage. After all, generals, troop types, and factions are all easy to understand. Investiture of the Gods might be stronger, but the early threshold is definitely high. The Mountains and Seas region is too dangerous. The official trailers are full of monsters. I suspect the starting death rate there is going to be ridiculous. And over in Toyo, ninjas and onmyoji are also extremely popular. Lin Yao listened while looking at the full immersion device inside the room. Chen Hao had arranged for someone to deliver the equipment that afternoon. The cabin was silver gray. It was not particularly large, and its shape resembled a half-open sleep pod. A label from the rental company was pasted on the side. 7-day trial. Overtime fees apply. Damage compensated at full price. Very realistic. Lin Yao walked over and touched the edge of the cabin. It felt cold. It did not feel like an ordinary gaming device. It felt more like some kind of medical instrument. Chen Hao's voice was still ringing in his earphones. Are you listening? Tonight, you absolutely have to choose your civilization region and class carefully. Once a character is created in this game, you can't delete it and start over for the first 7 days. I heard you. What are you planning to choose? I don't know. Hero, obviously, Chen Hao said immediately. The two of us can both choose hero and team up early to kill monsters and level. You can pick archer or mage. You won't need to fight in melee, so it'll be safer. Lin Yao did not answer right away. He opened his computer and glanced at the game's official website. The site had already entered the server opening countdown. There was only a short player explanation on the page. Initial identities in Era of the Divine Realms are divided into two types, Hero and Lord. Hero, a personal combat growth path. Lord, a civilization management and development path. Please choose carefully. Below it was a line of red warning text. Identity selection will affect the player's future fate and cannot be changed lightly. Lin Yao stared at the word fate for several seconds. Ordinary games rarely used that sort of wording. Usually, they talked about character development, class routes, or gameplay experience. Fate. That was too heavy. 7:55. Lin Yao lay down inside the immersion cabin. The cabin slowly closed. The light before his eyes gradually dimmed. A soft mechanical voice sounded beside his ear. Neural connection detection in progress. Heart rate stable. Preparing consciousness synchronization. Player identity confirmed, Lin Yao. Candidate qualification activated. Lin Yao's brows tightened slightly. Candidate qualification again. Before he could think further, his vision suddenly went black. The next second, it was as if he had fallen from a great height. His body became weightless. His consciousness sank. Countless points of light lit up in the darkness, like a river of stars flowing backward. When Lin Yao opened his eyes again, he was already standing inside a vast temple beneath the stars. Beneath his feet were transparent stone steps. Above his head was an endless sea of stars. In the distance floated countless doors, and behind every door shone a different scene. There were ancient battlefields of clashing metal and charging horses. There were palace halls among immortal mountains and seas of cloud. There was a ninja village where cherry blossoms drifted down. There was a divine mountain wrapped in thunder. There were tombs of undead kings hidden deep in yellow sand. There was a Norse divine realm where an enormous tree held up heaven and earth. Lin Yao stood where he was, and for a moment he could not tell whether this was a game or some kind of real otherworld. It was too real. There was wind in the air. The stone steps beneath his feet felt cold. Even the scent of blood drifting from the distant battlefield seemed real. The system voice sounded. Welcome to Era of the Divine Realms. Please select your initial civilization region. A row of options appeared before Lin Yao. Huaxia Civilization Region. Toyo Civilization Region. Olympus Civilization Region. Norse Civilization Region. Egyptian Civilization Region. Maya Civilization Region. Babylonian Civilization Region. Random Civilization Region. Lin Yao chose Huaxia without hesitation. It was not because his national sentiment was so intense that he had no other choice. It was simply because he was at least somewhat familiar with Huaxia history and mythology. In an unknown game, familiarity itself was an advantage. Initial Civilization Region confirmed, Huaxia Civilization Region. Please select your player identity. Two enormous screens of light unfolded in front of Lin Yao. On the left was Hero. In the image, an armored swordsman stood alone before an army of 10,000, a long sword in his hand. On the right was Lord. In the image, a blurred figure stood atop a city wall. Behind him were soldiers, farmland, workshops, academies, and burning war banners. The system began its introduction. Hero, wield individual might. You will grow with yourself as the core, continuously advancing through combat, quests, dungeons, skills, and equipment. Recommended for players with combat talent, operational ability, weapon experience, and team coordination ability. Lord, bear the rise and fall of civilization. You will develop with territory as the core, building towns, recruiting residents, training troop types, cultivating heroes, developing technology, and controlling resources. Recommended for players with management ability, resource planning ability, and long-term strategic ability. The next second, a basic assessment appeared in front of Lin Yao. Real-world ability detection complete. Combat experience, none. Weapon experience, none. Wilderness survival, low. Team command, unknown. Resource planning, medium. Pressure tolerance, high. Observation and analysis, high. Comprehensive recommendation, high-risk melee hero classes are not recommended. Chen Hao's friend voice channel connected at the same time. Lin Yao. I'm in. I can see Hero and Lord on my side. Which one are you choosing? I haven't chosen yet. Choose Hero. I looked at it. Hero is definitely going to feel great early on. Lord is way too resource hungry. If you don't have a guild or money, you really shouldn't touch it. Chen Hao's voice paused, then continued. I just checked the World Channel. Some consortiums have already formed Lord teams. Hundreds of people are supporting one core Lord's development. If an ordinary person plays Lord solo, it's basically suicide. Lin Yao said nothing. He actually knew that too. The Lord route sounded powerful, but that was late game. What about the early stage? One person had to manage a village, resources, population, monsters, defenses, and construction. He had no money. No team. No guide. Normally speaking, he should not touch it. But was Hero really suited to him? Combat experience, none. Weapon experience, none. Wilderness survival, low. If he went in as a swordsman, he might not even be able to cut down the first monster. A mage? What if casting had a threshold? An assassin? He had never even touched a dagger. Lin Yao raised his head and looked toward the Lord screen on the right. In the hero image, the swordsman was powerful. But there was no one behind him. In the Lord image, the figure himself was not clear. But behind him, there was a city. There were people. There was an army. There was civilization. Lin Yao suddenly asked, "System, what happens if a hero dies?" The system answered quickly. Early-stage death will result in penalties such as level reduction, equipment drops, and mental fatigue. Lin Yao asked again, "What happens if a lord fails?" Territory collapse. Residents flee. Lord authority stripped away. Player converted into a landless refugee identity. Lin Yao noticed one word. Residents. Not NPCs. Not units. Residents. He asked again, "Can residents die?" The system was silent for 1 second. Then it answered. Yes. Lin Yao's heart sank slightly. This did not sound like the answer of a game system. It was too simple. And too cold. Chen Hao was still trying to persuade him. "Bro, I chose hero. I'm starting with the Three Kingdoms border infantry route. Later, I'll see if I can transfer into a fierce general or wandering ranger. Hurry up and choose two. After we land, we'll see if we can meet up." Lin Yao looked at the 2 screens of light. Hero. Lord. He did not know which path was better. But he knew which path suited him more. He had no foundation in fighting, and he was not an operations monster. If everyone was competing for individual power, he might not be able to beat those true experts. But if the real core of this game was civilization, then the word Lord might be closer to the answer than hero. Lin Yao reached out and pressed the screen of light on the right. Identity confirmed, Lord. Chen Hao's side went silent for 2 seconds. Then came a miserable scream. "Damn it! You really chose Lord?" The system voice rang out immediately afterward. "You have selected the Lord route. Lord Main Quest 1, Establish a Village in 7 days, has been issued." A mission panel unfolded before Lin Yao's eyes. Mission name, Establish a Village in 7 days. Mission type, Lord Main Quest. Mission description, as an initial Lord, you must bring your territory to the minimum survival standard within 7 days. Completion conditions. 1. Territory population must not be lower than 10. 2. Possess 1 stable water source. 3. Possess 1 basic food source. 4. Construct 1 defensive facility. 5. Possess 5 combat-capable units. 6. Lord Stone Tablet integrity must not be lower than 50%. Mission rewards, official territory naming rights, beginner Lord treasure chest, civilization compatibility test. Failure penalty, territory collapse, residents flee, Lord identity stripped away. Lin Yao read it word by word. How was this anything like a beginner mission? It was more like a death notice. Before he could react, the starry temple began to tremble. Initial territory generating. Civilization region matching. Lord compatibility matching. Special candidate qualification interfering. Lin Yao abruptly raised his head. Special candidate qualification? What did that mean? The next second, the system voice suddenly became intermittent. Warning. Initial deployment point deviation detected. Relocating. Location confirmed. Region, Huaxia Civilization Region, Blackstone Wasteland. Territory status, Ruined Village. Teleportation beginning. The starry sky before Lin Yao's eyes collapsed in an instant. The violent sensation of falling swept over him again. When he opened his eyes once more, the wind carried a dry, cold smell of earth. The sky was gray. The ground was black. A desolate black plain appeared before him. Not far away, 3 old wooden houses stood crookedly. Beside a dried-up well, more than a dozen people in ragged clothes sat together. In the center of the village was a cracked stone tablet. The light on the tablet was so faint it looked as if it might go out at any moment. The system prompt sounded. Initial territory generation complete. Current territory, unnamed ruined village. Population, 12. Stable water sources, 0. Basic food sources, 0. Defensive facilities, 0. Combat-capable units, 1. Lordstone tablet integrity, 37%. Warning, Lordstone tablet integrity has fallen below the mission safety line. Please repair it as soon as possible. Lin Yao stood on the Black Wasteland and was silent for a long time. In the friend channel, Chen Hao's excited voice came through. Holy crap! I spawned in a Three Kingdoms border camp. There are so many players here, and NPC officers too. I feel like I'm about to take off. What about you? Where did you land? Lin Yao looked at the broken village in front of him, a place that seemed as if it would collapse the moment the wind blew, and his voice was calm. I might have spawned straight into bankruptcy. The wind of the Blackstone Wasteland was harsh. When it struck his face, it felt as if it carried fine grains of sand. Lin Yao stood at the village entrance. He did not rush to act. Instead, he looked over the territory in front of him from beginning to end. 3 wooden houses. A dry well. 12 refugees. A cracked Lord stone tablet. A pile of firewood that did not even reach his waist. Several sacks of coarse grain that did not look particularly fresh. And a severely wounded old soldier lying on a straw mat, his chest wrapped in dirty cloth. This was his starting point. Lin Yao opened the territory panel. Territory, unnamed ruined village. Level, temporary settlement. Lord, Lin Yao. Population, 12. Public morale, 31. Public order, 18. Grain, 5 days. Water source, 0. Defense, 0. Military, extremely weak. Construction evaluation, on the verge of collapse. Comprehensive evaluation, long-term garrison not recommended. Lin Yao stared at the final line for several seconds. Even the system did not recommend staying here long-term. Good. At least the game was honest. An old man with graying hair walked over shakily, followed by several refugees. The way they looked at Lin Yao held reverence, but also doubt. Or rather, more doubt than reverence. The old man lowered his head. My lord. Lin Yao looked at him. What's your name? This humble one is Zhou Bo. I am the temporary steward of these people. What is the situation in the village right now? Zhou Bo's lips moved, as if he did not know where to begin. In the end, he gave a bitter smile. Not very good. Those 3 words were already very tactful. After Zhou Bo's explanation, Lin Yao quickly learned the actual situation. This group had originally been refugees. They had gathered here to avoid the monsters of the wasteland. A few days ago, they discovered this Lord Stone tablet and thought this place could form a shelter. But the stone tablet itself was already damaged, and the protective range was very weak. The well had completely dried up 2 days ago. The nearby land was barren and could not be farmed. Monsters moved at night. The severely wounded old soldier had been found at the edge of the wasteland and brought back by them. He had remained unconscious ever since. By the time Zhou Bo finished speaking, his voice had grown lower and lower. If not for the Lord's descent, we were already preparing to leave tomorrow. Lin Yao looked at them. Where would you go after leaving? Zhou Bo fell silent. The other refugees lowered their heads as well. They did not know. It was only that staying here looked like death, so they wanted to leave. Many times, people did not act because they saw hope. They acted because they could not remain where they were and wait to die. Lin Yao opened the mission panel. Establish a village in 7 days. Remaining time, 6 days, 23 hours. Population, 12/10, achieved. Stable water source, 0 firsts, not achieved. Basic food source, 0/1, not achieved. Defensive facility, 0/1, not achieved. Combat capable units, 1/5, not achieved. Lord Stone Tablet integrity, 37% per 50%, not achieved. 6 conditions. Only population had met the requirement. And even that population was unstable. As long as someone left tomorrow, the first condition would fail too. Lin Yao pressed his fingers against the space between his brows. No wonder the forums said ordinary people should not choose Lord. This was not a game opening. This was post-disaster reconstruction. He opened the world channel. A large number of messages swept past rapidly. Ha ha ha, I spawned in River Valley Village. There is water and forest nearby, and the system even gave me 2 militia. Lord Player checking in. I have a blacksmith shop here. Feels pretty good. Help, I spawned in the mountains and ran into a wolf as soon as I stepped out. Do not recommend. Seriously, do not play Lord. I can't even command my villagers. Any brothers in Blackstone Wasteland? Is this place a trash map? Blackstone Wasteland? Run. I just checked. Resources are extremely low, monster density is high at night, and there isn't even an NPC main city nearby. Haha, whoever spawns in Blackstone Wasteland is doomed. Lin Yao looked at the last few messages and silently closed the channel. He did not have time to watch other people take pleasure in disaster. Right now, he first had to judge whether this village could be saved at all. He walked toward the Lord Stone Tablet in the center of the village. It was a black stone tablet taller than a person, its surface covered in cracks. The base of the tablet was buried in the earth, and broken stones lay scattered around it. Lin Yao reached out and touched it. Cold. The next second, a sharp pain came from his fingertip. A system prompt appeared. Damaged Lord Stone Tablet. Integrity, 37%. Effect, weak shelter, low-level territory authority. Status, unstable. Repair requirements, stone, wood, basic energy source. Lin Yao frowned. This information was too ordinary. Stone and wood were understandable. But what was a basic energy source? He was just about to withdraw his hand when a line of golden text suddenly flashed before his eyes. Unknown civilization fluctuation detected. Candidate qualification resonance in progress. Talent awakened, civilization analysis. Lin Yao's breath caught. The next second, the information on the Lord Stone Tablet changed. Beneath the original ordinary system panel, a row of golden text appeared, visible only to him. Civilization analysis result. Damaged Lord Stone Tablet. Surface status, severely damaged. True nature, one of the core fragments of an ancient battlefield. Hidden effect, can absorb residual Warsoul aura to repair itself, can serve as the core of Warsoul civilization buildings. Risk warning, if left unrepaired for a long period, underground undead aura will gradually seep out and trigger a night tide. Lin Yao's pupils contracted slightly. A core fragment of an ancient battlefield? Residual Warsoul aura? Night tide? He slowly turned his head and looked toward the unconscious, severely wounded old soldier. New information surfaced. Severely wounded old soldier. Surface identity, unemployed refugee. True identity, remnant of the formation breaker camp. Status, severe injury, blood loss, relapse of old illness. Potential, special military talent. Related clues, prototype of the formation breaker camp, undead of the ancient battlefield, war soul troop types. Lin Yao's heartbeat began to quicken. He looked again at the dried up well. Dried up well. Surface status, water vein exhausted. True status, the bottom of the well leads to an underground earth vein spring. Blockage source, nest of black-scaled rats. Clearing it can provide a stable water source. Then he looked at the unremarkable black stones outside the village. Blackstone Wasteland waste rock. Surface material, low-value stone. True material, low-grade obsidian iron ore. Properties, hard, corrosion-resistant, capable of carrying faint war soul power. Recommended uses, weapons, armor, stone tablet repair, military buildings. Lin Yao stood where he was, silent for a moment. Just now, he had thought he was the unluckiest player. He had spawned in the worst map and received the most broken village. But now, he suddenly realized something. The Blackstone Wasteland did not lack resources. Ordinary players simply could not see the real resources. This place was not a trash map. It was a hidden map disguised as a trash map. Seeing that he had been silent for so long, Zhou Bo could not help asking carefully, "My lord?" Lin Yao came back to himself. He looked at the refugees in their torn clothes, their eyes uneasy. 12 people. One broken village. One stone tablet on the verge of collapse. Without civilization analysis, this truly was a dead end. But now, a road had appeared inside the dead end. It was narrow. It was dangerous. But it was not no road at all. Lin Yao asked, "How many medicinal herbs are left in the village?" Zhou Bo froze for a moment. Only a little. They were originally prepared for when everyone gets injured. Lin Yao pointed toward the severely wounded old soldier. "Save him first." Zhou Bo's expression changed. Several refugees beside him immediately raised their heads as well. A tall, sturdy man could not help speaking. "My lord, that man is almost dead. There are only a few herbs. We may not even be able to save him." Another woman also said in a low voice, "If someone is injured tonight, there will be no medicine left." Lin Yao looked at them. He knew they were not cold-blooded. They were simply too poor. So poor that every bit of resource had to be calculated by whether it could return enough value. But now, he had to make a choice. He wanted to save the old soldier because he knew the old soldier had value. But he could not use only that reason. Because that reason could not be spoken aloud. After a moment of silence, he said, "If we give up on him today because he is badly injured, then tomorrow, when someone else is injured, they will be given up too. The day after that, it may be one of you." The crowd quieted. Lin Yao continued. "I do not dare promise that we can save him. But I can promise that in this village, as long as there is still a chance, I will not throw away anyone who is willing to stay as a burden." The tall man frowned and still wanted to say something. But Zhou Bo lowered his head first. "We will listen to the Lord." Lin Yao nodded. "Also, gather all grain, water bags, and tools in front of the stone tablet. I need to count everything again." When the tall man heard this, his expression immediately turned ugly. "The grain too?" "Yes." "Then what are we supposed to eat?" Lin Yao looked at him calmly. "It will be distributed by person." The tall man sneered. "My lord, you just arrived and already want to collect the grain?" The atmosphere became tense in an instant. The eyes of the surrounding refugees also began to turn uneasy. Lin Yao did not back down. He now understood very clearly that lord was not just a title. The first duty of a lord was to establish order. Without order, even abundant resources would be consumed by internal friction. And he did not have abundant resources at all. Lin Yao looked at the tall man and said, word by word, right now, the village only has enough grain for 5 days. There is no water source. There are monsters at night. The stone tablet's integrity is insufficient. If everyone manages only their own things, this place will become a pile of loose sand within 2 days at most. You may choose not to trust me. But you need to think clearly. If you leave this place, can you survive tonight? The tall man's expression shifted. He said nothing more. Lin Yao withdrew his gaze and turned toward the severely wounded old soldier. He crouched down and looked at that pale but sharply defined face. Remnant of the formation breaker camp. Those words were like a spark, igniting a kind of ambition in Lin Yao's heart that should not belong to a beginner player. If he could save him. If he could repair the stone tablet. If he could open the underground earth vein spring. If the obsidian iron ore could be used. Then this broken village might not be unable to survive. Lin Yao said in a low voice, from now on, this place is not a ruined village. It will have a name. Zhou Bo asked carefully, what does the Lord wish to call it? Lin Yao looked toward the dark wasteland in the distance. Under the gray sky, those black stones look like sleeping sparks. We will name it after establish a village in 7 days is complete. Only then will it truly be worthy of a name. The system panel silently surfaced. Lord Main Quest, establish a village in 7 days. Hidden progress has been activated. Hint, your first choice will affect the initial direction of territory morale. Lin Yao looked at that line of text and suddenly understood. From the moment he chose Lord, this game was no longer about killing monsters and leveling up. Every choice was a root of the territory. If the roots grew crooked, the city would collapse no matter how high it rose. And his first choice was to save a person. When the village's medicinal herbs were delivered to Lin Yao, there were pitifully few. Only one torn cloth bundle. Inside were a few dried leaves, 2 sections of gray-white root, and a small bottle of cloudy medicinal powder. Zhou Bo explained in a low voice, we brought these out before fleeing into the wasteland. There were more at first, but too many people were injured on the road. Most of it has already been used. Lin Yao picked up one of the leaves. The ordinary system panel did not react. But civilization analysis quickly appeared. Blood-staunching grass. Quality, poor. Effect, minor hemostasis. Suggestion, grind and apply externally, clean the wound with clear water. He looked again at the section of root. Bitter earth root. Quality, poor. Effect, relieves fever and infection. Risk, excessive dosage will cause weakness. These herbs were not good, but at least they were useful. The problem was that Gao Mu's injuries were severe. Lin Yao lifted the dirty cloth over the old soldier's chest and immediately smelled blood mixed with rot. The wound was near the left ribs. It looked as if it had been torn open by some kind of claw, then never properly treated. More troublesome was the faint black aura surrounding the wound. Civilization analysis surfaced again. Injury status, external wound infection, blood loss, death aura erosion, relapse of old illness. Treatment recommendation, debridement, hemostasis, suppressed death aura, supplement with clear water. Warning, if not treated within 12 hours, probability of death exceeds 70%. Lin Yao's heart sank. 12 hours. This was not a problem he could delay. He raised his head and asked, who knows how to treat wounds? The refugees looked at one another. No one stepped forward immediately. After a while, a thin, small girl timidly raised her hand. She was about 13 or 14 years old. Ash stained her face, and she held a chipped clay jar in her arms. I used to help my mother prepare herbs. Lin Yao looked at her. Refugee girl? Name, Xingya. Surface ability, recognizes a small number of medicinal herbs. Hidden potential, spirit plant cultivator. Suitable direction, herb cultivation, spiritual field care, healing assistance. Lin Yao's eyes shifted slightly. Another potential talent. He did not show anything unusual. He only asked, "Your name is Xingya?" The girl nodded. "Do you dare help?" Xingya looked at the old soldier's savage wound. Her face went pale, but she still gritted her teeth and nodded. "I dare." "Good." Lin Yao handed the herbs to her. Grind the blood-staunching grass. Use only 1/3 of the bitter earth root. First, use the remaining water by the well to clean the area around the wound. Zhou Bo's expression changed. "My lord, there is not much water left either." "I know." "Then, if we don't clean it with water, he won't survive tonight." Lin Yao's voice was not loud, but it was steady. Zhou Bo said nothing more. Several refugees brought over the last bit of stored water. Xingya knelt beside the straw mat, her hands trembling slightly. Lin Yao did not rush her. He knew that for a girl barely in her teens to stand forward in this kind of environment was already rare. The tall, sturdy man stood not far away, his expression still ugly. His name was Zhao Tai, and he was the strongest among the 12 refugees. Ever since earlier, he had been staring at the grain and tools that had been gathered together. Lin Yao noticed it, but did not deal with it immediately. Internal instability was inevitable. As long as people had not yet seen hope, someone would always want to protect themselves first. That was not strange. The real question was whether Lin Yao could produce hope before the situation lost control. Xingya began cleaning the wound. The old soldier let out a low, muffled groan while unconscious. His fingers suddenly dug into the ground, his knuckles whitening with force. Lin Yao pressed down on his shoulder. The old soldier abruptly opened his eyes. They were very cold eyes. They did not look like the eyes of a refugee, nor like the eyes of an old man, nor like the eyes of a patient. In that instant, Lin Yao even had the illusion that what he was holding down was not a severely wounded man, but a blade buried in the earth that had still not rusted. The old soldier stared at Lin Yao. His voice was hoarse, like sandpaper scraping together. "Who are you?" "The lord of this place." The old soldier's eyes changed slightly. "A newly arrived outsider?" Lin Yao did not deny it. "Yes." The corner of the old soldier's mouth pulled faintly. It was hard to tell whether it was a smile or mockery. "This place cannot be defended." The refugees around them went pale. The already unstable morale began to shift again because of that sentence. Lin Yao looked at him. "Why?" The old soldier turned his head with difficulty and looked toward the black wasteland outside the village. "There are things underground." Lin Yao's eyes moved. He knew the old soldier was not talking about ordinary monsters. "What things?" The old soldier was silent for a moment. It seemed as if he was remembering, and also resisting the memory. In the end, he only said 4 words. "Soldiers who died." The surrounding refugees did not understand. But Lin Yao did. Ancient battlefield. Undead. Residual war soul aura. The secret of the Blackstone Wasteland was surfacing earlier than he had expected. Xingya carefully applied the herbs to the wound. The old soldier's body tightened from the pain, but he did not cry out. Lin Yao asked, "What is your name?" "Gao Mu." "Were you a soldier before?" Gao Mu looked at him, and his gaze suddenly sharpened. "Why are you asking that?" I need to know who in the village can fight. Cao Mu was silent for a while. And what if someone can fight? Lin Yao answered calmly, within 7 days, I need to make this village survive. Cao Mu seemed to have heard something absurd. He looked at the dried-up well in the distance, then at the broken wooden houses and the sallow, thin refugees. With these people? Yes. No water. No grain. No wall. No soldiers. Then we add them one by one. Cao Mu stared at him. Do you know what comes at night? Monsters. Not only monsters. Cao Mu said in a low voice, this wasteland is not clean. After dark, black aura seeps out between the stones. The things that died underground follow the scent of the living. The refugees' faces turned even paler. Zhao Tai finally could not help speaking. You hear that? Even this old soldier says we can't defend this place. Instead of wasting medicine on him, we should take the grain and leave before the sky gets dark. Some people's eyes wavered. A woman hugged her child tighter. Another young man also said quietly, maybe, if we leave now, there is still a chance. Zhou Bo was anxious and wanted to persuade them, but did not know how to begin. Lin Yao stood up. He did not immediately refute Zhao Tai. Instead, he walked to the grain and opened several sacks of coarse food with his own hands. All the grain here, added together, is enough for 12 people to eat for about 5 days. He then pointed at the well. The water source has already dried up. The remaining stored water will not last until noon tomorrow. Then he looked outside the village. If you want to leave, you may. Zhao Tai froze. The others also froze. Lin Yao continued. But you need to think clearly about 3 things. First, you do not know where the nearest safe place is. Second, there are monsters in the wasteland at night. Third, those who leave with grain will definitely be easier targets than those who leave empty-handed. Zhao Tai's expression turned ugly. Then staying means we can live? I cannot guarantee that. Lin Yao was very direct. That answer, instead, made everyone quiet. Lin Yao looked at them and said, word by word, but if we stay, we at least have a stone tablet, wooden houses, a well, and a defensive line that can be repaired. If you walk out, you have nothing. He paused. I will not lie to you and say we are certain to survive. All I can tell you is that I will put every person in the position where they are most useful. Those who can fight will fight. Those who know carpentry will repair the defensive line. Those who understand herbs will save people. Those who run fast will scout. Those with strength will move stones. As long as you are willing to stay, every person has value in surviving. After those words fell, Qingya raised her head and looked at Lin Yao. Zhou Bo also slowly lowered his head. Cao Mu lay on the straw mat, silently watching this young lord. At first, he had thought this was another outsider who did not understand the height of the sky or the depth of the earth. Before dark, perhaps the wasteland would frighten him into running away. But Lin Yao did not speak grand words. He did not say he had been chosen by destiny. He did not promise that following him would surely bring glory and wealth. He simply laid out every terrible circumstance, then told everyone one thing. Only by staying could they have organization. Only with organization could they have a sliver of a chance. Cao Mu suddenly asked, if enemies come tomorrow, how will you defend this broken village? Lin Yao looked at him. Right now, we cannot defend it. The hearts of the surrounding people sank. A trace of disappointment also flashed through Cao Mu's eyes. But Lin Yao continued. That is why, starting tonight, we make it defensible. Cao Mu froze. Lin Yao walked in front of him and crouched down. I need you to survive. Cao Mu's voice was hoarse. Why? Because you are a soldier. A soldier about to die. About to die does not mean already dead. Lin Yao looked into his eyes. And this village needs someone who knows how to fight. Cao Mu was silent for a long time. So long that Xingye thought he had fallen unconscious again. Finally, he slowly let out a breath. If I can stand up, I will guard the first night for you. A system prompt appeared before Lin Yao's eyes. You have triggered hidden mission, the sleeping veteran of the formation breaker camp. Mission content, stabilize Gao Mu's injuries and obtain Gao Mu's initial trust. Current progress, trust established. Remaining objective, suppress death aura erosion. Mission reward, special talent Gao Mu, clues to the formation breaker camp. Lin Yao's eyes sharpened slightly. The mission was not complete yet. Death aura erosion remained a problem. He looked at the faint black aura surrounding Gao Mu's wound. Ordinary herbs could only stop bleeding. They could not disperse death aura. And among civilization analysis's treatment suggestions, there was one item. Supplement with clear water. No. Not ordinary clear water. If the bottom of the well truly connected to an underground earth vein spring, then that water might be able to suppress the death aura. Lin Yao stood and looked toward the dried-up well. He suddenly understood. Saving Gao Mu and restoring the water source were not two separate matters. They were the same path to survival. He turned and asked Zhou Bo, "Has anyone gone down into the well?" Zhou Bo's face went pale. Someone went down to look before, but what? There are things below. Lin Yao pressed, "What things?" Zhou Bo swallowed. Black-scaled rats. Zhao Tai sneered. Those things move in groups. Their teeth can bite through bone. Old Lu went down the day before yesterday, and only half his hand came back up. The refugees were seized by a wave of fear. Lin Yao walked to the well and looked down. The bottom of the well was pitch black. Faintly, there came the sound of small things crawling. Civilization analysis lit up. Underground earth veins spring at the bottom of the well. Hidden mission can be triggered. Mission objective, clear the black-scaled rat swarm and restore the flow of the underground spring. Mission rewards, stable water source, underground earth vein spring, slight physical enhancement, death aura suppression material. Lin Yao took a deep breath. The first true difficulty had arrived. He turned and looked at everyone. Before nightfall, we go down the well. The crowd instantly fell into dead silence. Zhao Tai's eyes widened. Are you insane? Lin Yao looked at the well mouth, his voice very steady. If we do not go down the well, there is no water. Without water, everyone will scatter tomorrow. Gao Mu's injury cannot be suppressed either. So this is not a choice. This is the first step for us to survive.